Hello everybody, welcome to my weird and wonderful world, and today's video is a pretty important subject to me. But first I want to do something a little bit more important. I've got to give a shout out to my latest subscriber, Holleran Illustrations. He became my 125th newest subscriber. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. You are so welcomed into the Mosters family. And excellent. You're awesome. Thank you very much. Now, before I begin, I want to just state that this is my opinion. It's just my point of view of how I feel about this subject. And also that I'm going to ramble a tiny bit here and there. It's just the nature of this type of video because it's more of a passion that I have about music. So you'll see. So the first thing I want to get out of the way, and it's really an important aspect of this video, is my definition of what music is. Now, I've always considered for the longest time that it is the process of turning noise into sound. Because noise, I would consider that a negative connotation. It would be, turn that noise off. What are you listening to that noise for? If somebody doesn't like a certain type of music, or they can't relate to it, it's considered noise to them. But if they like something and can relate to it, then it's sound. It's considered sound. Like a great example would be a Harley Davidson motorcycle. To one person who doesn't like that culture and can't relate to it, the noise of a motorcycle going down the street would be bothersome, and it's like, I hear that noise going down the street there? That bothers me. But to a motorcycle enthusiast, a biker, who loves that culture and can relate to it, then a sound of a Harley Davidson would be beautiful sound to them. And I've always felt that way. That is what the definition of music is. It's the process of transforming noise into sound, to something that you don't like, because you can use any type of sounds, from door buzzers to vacuum cleaners to whatever, to make music. Once it becomes in a certain rhythmic pattern that you just say, wow, I never heard sounds like that before. It can give you goosebumps and transform your whole perception of beauty, and just, it's heartfelt. It can be heartfelt. Now another aspect of music for me, that, and again, this is my point of view, this is just my opinion on the subject, is that there is no such thing as objectivity when it comes to music. It's all personal. It's all subjective. Hence the title of this video. It's the subjective beauty of music. Because how a band, it all depends on when you were born, what was the first album that you heard of that band, where you were in your life, what your thinking processes were, the experiences that you've had. They're different. They are so different to each and every single person that you can never put down another person's point of view, or why they like what they like. Even if you think to yourself, I can never stand that music. That music is noise to me. You can never put down another person's point of view on music. For example, I am not a cowboy. I have not grown up on a farm with a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, riding horses and driving tractors and stuff like that. I cannot relate to that music. It's definitely not my favorite type of music. I do like a tiny bit of country music here and there, but it really isn't my forte whatsoever. But do I want to put people down for loving country music? Absolutely not. No, to each their own, and power to you. If the country music is what gives you some positivity, makes your life better, and makes you want to be a better human being, then go ahead. I will never ever put down another person's subjectivity of music, because like I said, it's so personal and so. Yeah, it's important to embrace the differences, in music. And especially now in the last 5 to 10 years, I really keep an open mind to other genres of music that I would never have really loved before. Now, 15 years ago, if you would have told me that I was going to be a big fan of Sparks, for example, I would have probably laughed in your face and said, no, I'm not into that kind of music. I like the heavier music. I like this music. It's too silly. It's too this. It's too that. Bullocks. I love Sparks now. I love bizarre and odd type of music, and I love the silly, and I love the whimsical, and there is nothing wrong with it. Like there's so like I've never loved more, I've never loved more country music than I have today. I have opened my pot, I don't know what the right word exactly to say for that, but I've embraced the differences. I've embraced that even if I don't like it, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, this is really in relation to the last video that I made where I talked about one of my, about a week ago, I made a video where I talked about my 10 favorite, my 15 favorite Tool songs of all time. Now, okay, a couple of errors that I did making that video. First of all, I shouldn't have used the word favorite. I should have probably used important as in the title, because it's not necessarily that they're my favorite songs. They were just kind of the 15 songs that had some more deeper meaning and messages, and the whole overall, it was the overall vibe and integrity of those particular songs that I was referring to. Not this, I don't know why I said favorite, and I shouldn't have used that word in the title or in the video. That was not the proper way of going about that one. And secondly, my biggest regret in that video is that I didn't put Schism in that list. If you can see that, there's the list going down from 15. This is my initial list of what I put in there. And you see, Schism is not in there. And it should have been. It really should have been. So, kind of take that. The list is not going to change, except for one major change. I want to take out H. I want to take that one out. Move maybe about 10 of these down, 9, 10 of these other songs down, and put Schism somewhere in my top 10, because it really did deserve to be there, and I don't know why it wasn't. It kind of perplexed me. I wish, again, there's so many songs that I could have put in that list too. Again, I could have put Sober in there. I could have put Prison Sex in there. I could have put Push It or Third Eye or Right Into. All those songs were really strong contenders, and they're everything is all 10 out of 10s. So there's no such thing as there is not really ranked in that fashion. It's it's more about the meaning and the importance of the song in my history with the band, because it's really important when you're into a band. It's like, what was the first album you heard of the band? What was the first, was it right from the beginning, from the first album when they just came out and you bought that album? Because with Tool, it was Opiate, the first EP way back in '92. I mean, when it was only Opiate, it became my favorite band right then and there. And then every album that came out after it just blew my mind, and they kept on getting better and more precise and more deeper and darker and meaningful, and they never cease to amaze me. Every album, doesn't matter which one it is, every album is top grade, is top notch. It just personally, my favorite album is Lateralis. And again, I should have put Schism in this list. Like, that was a big oversight on my part. But yeah, it's like, when was the first time you heard an album of a band? Now, in the 80s, okay, 1985, the first album of Metallica that I heard was Master of Puppets. I didn't even know about Ride the Lightning or Kill 'Em All at that moment. And it's only in retrospect that I like hearing Master of Puppets, loving it. Metallica became my favorite band, and then I went back and heard the first two albums. But for those who jumped in on Kill 'Em All, like, I can't even imagine what that journey would have been for you, because it was totally a different journey for me. You know, like, Master of Puppets, it's still my favorite. It is my favorite Metallica album of all time, because that was my really first exposure to it, when a good friend of mine played the album for me that first time. Yeah, I was just like, it had everything I needed in a band. They're no longer my favorite band, but that's neither here or there. But yeah, so you gotta take in consideration of when was the first time you heard a band. How old were you when you first heard the band? Because if you were a different age, different backgrounds, different mental states. Like, when I say that music has no objectivity, I truly feel that. 100% is subjective. It all comes from your point of view, and nobody can take away your love for a band. Now, for example, another big example is I had a roommate when I was living up in Montreal that his favorite band was Rush. Now, I mildly tolerated Rush. I thought Rush was a decent band, but I was not a big, and I would not consider myself a big fan of them at all. I was just aware that they were out there, that I liked everything I heard of Rush, but I wasn't like gung ho about it whatsoever. But every day, he played a few albums almost every day for months. And then, the more I heard, the more I appreciated it and started to agree, yeah, they're an awesome band. I really do love Rush. And they're probably in my top 5. Yeah, probably in my top 5 favorite bands of all time right now, because the more even today, the more I listen to Rush, the better it gets. It just keeps getting better and better and better. His big thing was the drummer, of course, Neil Peart. He had an obsession with his drumming, and always trying to convince people that no, Rush is the greatest band in the world, no matter what. He was trying to push it objectively, saying no, objectively, it's the greatest band in the world. Well, okay, for you maybe, but it's not for me. It's not for this next person. There's no way you're going to convince everybody that they're the greatest band in the world, because they're just one of, a consideration for one of the greatest band, at least one of the greatest Canadian bands there is out there. But again, that's all subjective. I know, like my brother and my best friend, they're not Rush fans, and nor would I push it on them, nor would I try to convince them otherwise. If that's not their favorite band, that's fine. That is fine. I recently gotten into Sparks in the last two and a half years, and I love the band. They're probably in my top 5 favorite bands at the moment. And my best friend and my brother, they're not into Sparks at all. They're like, to them it's way lower on the list. And that is fine. I am not going to say, what, you're stupid, you don't like Sparks? No, not at all. They love different type of music. They love music that they relate to. Again, the topic of this video is the subjectivity of music. And it's 100% subjective. Now, again, I wish I was born earlier so I could really appreciate the Beatles like I should. I'm very quickly starting to have a great appreciation and love the Beatles more and more the more I slowly get into them. I have just a couple of albums, but I really do want and need to get more. Absolutely. I think they are a terrific band, but they broke up just a little less than a year before I was born, so I didn't have that connection with them. They were this has-been band that are no longer together. They all separated and doing their solo stuff. And many times when I was hearing a solo stuff of either Paul McCartney or John Lennon, especially as a kid, I would mistaken them for Beatles. Like it was all the same to me. Like for the longest time, I thought that Uncle Albert, for example, or Band on the Run, was a Beatles song, or Imagine even was a Beatles song. It was just that's how it was perceived to me, and I didn't know any better. But yeah, now that I have kept a really big open mind to other genres and other type of music, yeah, I'm getting much more into the Beatles. As a kid, yeah, I probably was more of an Elvis fan than a Beatles fan, and like Elvis and then the Beatles. But then now it's Beatles all the way over Elvis. And not saying that Elvis was bad. I still love a lot of Elvis stuff. I really am not, again, it's relatability. I am not a fan of his gospel stuff. I'm not a religious type of person. I have spirituality, but I'm not a religious person, and I'm not crazy at all for his gospel music. But for those who are into it and relate to it, again, power to you. I'm never going to diminish that for you. I am never going to put you down for it and saying, what, are you crazy for loving that? No, never. So that is basically all of that in a nutshell, is that you just you just cannot put other people's taste in music down whatsoever, because it means different things to different people, and it's really all about the relativity, how much you relate to what you're listening to. The more you can relate to it, the more you're going to love it. And I think that is the major factor of why we like what we like. And that's it. There is no objectivity, none. And again, that's my opinion when it comes to music. So before this video gets a little too long and I start rambling off of the point, I'm just going to let this go right now. And as always, the same thing I'm always going to say is heartfelt, that please be safe. Take care. I will see you on the flip side. And please, everybody, have a great day, evening, night, wherever you may be. Peace.